which is considered as the oldest culture in the world. And Pakistan came into being, as we know, Pakistan and India separated in 1947. And then, the Kalasha people were living here since, according to archaeological survey and research, since 3,000 years. Most of the people, they consider the Kalasha people are descendant of Alexander the Great, but archaeologists deny this theory. They says no, the Kalasha people are not descendant of Alexander the Great, and their history is older than the Alexander's theory. So where we are living actually in Pakistan, we are living in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, which is in the we are just living behind Afghanistan. The number of Kalashas nowadays, it is 3,500 only. In three narrow valleys they are living. Uh, the Kalasha valleys are, before 1947, they were living in entire Chitral, which is those days called the northern Pakistan. And of course, in some parts of Afghanistan and some parts of the northern Pakistan. But in 15th, 14th century, when the Central Asians invasion, they came to Chitral, and they many of the Kalashas, they were converted by force. And when somebody remained, they run away from the city and they confined themselves into the mountain areas. Those days, these valleys were just the pastures. They remain to live in these pastures called Birir, Rambur, Bamburet, which are three valleys nowadays the Kalasha people are living. Uh, the famous valleys are, as I said, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, it's like called Rambur, Birir, and Bamburet, and only the Kalasha 3,500 people are living on these three narrow valleys. As I said about the origin and history of Kailash, there are a lot of theories the people, told about the Kailasha origin. Some people says they are descendant of Alexander the Great, as I said, and archaeological studies and archaeological surveys and excavations said no, they are indigenous people, only one and only minority religious indigenous people living in Pakistan. But their own elders and qazis, when they described their songs, the religious songs, and they said no, the Kalasha people are come from Siam. We still don't know where is actually Siam and where is located. And some people says it's in Afghanistan, and some people says no, it's in somewhere in like in Europe countries and like that. But we actually don't know where actually the Siam is located. Kailash culture, it's very famous and unique because of, the Kailasha dress, as I'm dressing like this today. The Kailasha people's living style and their, most of the Kailasha culture is dependent on the women's attire, I think so. And most of the time I said this, that the Kailasha women are pillar of this culture, just because they know about the human attire in Kailash and their unique kind of dress up, and they're still doing it, not for the camera, not for the movies. They're doing it proudly because they use it in their daily life, and when they're working or they are doing something in their fields and they're doing something in the household, still they use this kind of clothes in their daily life. Again, the Kalasha people are, as I said, it's a very unique culture. They don't have a daily prayers like Muslims, like other religion in the world. They don't have daily prayers. They never pray in daily routine. They celebrate festivals. As I said, the Kalasha people are naturalistic people. They love the mother nature, and that's why they celebrate four festivals in a year, like a seasonal festivals. In these festivals, there is not only the dance and entertainment. The purpose is not only dance and entertainment. The purpose is to perform the rituals, to pray, to please the god and goddesses. And we also, consider during these festivals, there are some angels come to us and they convey our message to Allah. Allah, we call Allah dissolve. So these festivals are Joshi festival. Joshi festival is celebrated usually we celebrate it as a spring festival from mid-May, 13 to 17 May every year. And it is the festival we welcome spring, and we thank God for this wonderful season, and we celebrate it with like dance and songs. And this festivity is dedicated to spring and future harvesting. It's called Joshi. The people, that there are a lot of kind of things going on. They're distributing yogurt for the fertility, and they distribute a lot of things like, you can see many documentaries. They are dancing and they are decorating their houses with flowers and like that. It's a most amazing and very famous festival. Of course, it's happening in the most beautiful season. That's why a lot of tourists and a lot of international and national tourists are participating in this festival. Again, Uchao is a religious festival. It's we celebrate Uchao every year from 19 to 22 August. It's harvesting festival when before Uchao festival, we didn't cut the barley, and like harvesting is not allowed before Uchao festival. After Uchao festival, then harvesting will start, and the people will come to their daily routine. And Uchao is again a religious festival. We went to different religious places, and we perform prayers and rituals and all this. And Pro Festival, which is just ended few days ago. It's celebrated only in Birir Valley because the Pro Festival is like when the fruits are ready, especially pears, grapes, and walnut. Like this kind of fruits are abundant to eat in Birir Valley before Pru festival. After Pru, they are allowed to touch and collect all these fruits. And the most famous thing is grapes harvesting, because the making end of wine making, they celebrate this festival. Wine is a sacred drink in Kailash. Let me tell you, wine is a sacred drink in Kailash. We never perform our rituals, we never perform our religious prayers without wine. Wine is like a sacred and pure thing in Kailash. If you want to purify someone, if you want to going for a sacrifice, before that we split a wine on ourselves and we wash our hands with wine. So wine is considered, only the grape wine is considered a most sacred and pure thing in Kailash. Chomos festival. Chomos is like it's a most important and very big festival in Kailash. From 8 December to 22 December every year we celebrate it. During this festival, we did a lot of rituals, we did a lot of culture things, and the kids who are 7-year old, they first time they perform the religious activities. And those days, the uncle of the girl or the boy, he came to home, and first time he tried to wear like a Kalashi dress and properly entered into the Kalash religion. Before 7 years, the kid is not like a religious like he belong to not any religion. He's like a kid, he's innocent, he belong to not any religion. After 7 years, he properly welcome to the culture, the religion of Kailash. Then we offer then we go to Mahadev and other religious places to sacrifice and to perform our prayers. It's like 15 days, all the prayers and rituals festival. We consider those days the angels like Indra and Indra's daughter, they come to the valleys and we are praying, and they convey our message to the god. Ratnat is it's not that kind of nowadays. It's just because of the insensitivity of tourists. Nobody, the people are not celebrating this festival anymore, because this is the young couples festival. Before festival, they celebrate this Ratnat to dance and sing a song, and just for the enjoyment. It's 2 months night dance, and the young people are celebrated just for their enjoyment. But nowadays it's almost finished, almost into nobody celebrated. Gandao festival is also abundant in Kailash just because of the expenses where the Kailasha people could not meet. because this festival is considered very very expensive in like that kind of festival. When somebody die on the memory of that person, they celebrate the Gandao festival. But in fortunately in 2008, when the last time the Gandao, after 40 years, the Gandao festival was celebrated, and according to the person who celebrate this festivity, and he told that he spent 16 lakh Pakistani rupees for the festival. So it's a huge amount the Kalasha people can't meet in the expenses. That's why this beautiful culture activity is abundant nowadays. It was celebrated for the memory of that person. And that ceremony, that festival concept is again like I think it's very unique, and I don't think that anyone in the world they celebrate death, because that's again a painful thing. Nobody can celebrate the death. But the Kalasha people, they believe that the person who is living in this world is going to the better place, and he is going to paradise. So why not we say goodbye to him or her happily? That's why they celebrate this festival, and we consider it seen to be unhappy on God's decision. That's why this concept is going on and on. What is a threat to the culture? Uh, Let me tell here that lack of awareness. Many of the Kailash youngers, they didn't own their own culture. They didn't understand what is the culture, what is the religion, and how important their culture and religion for them, because we are living in the minority, and again we are living we are only 3,500 people, and there is no religious and kind of schools for the Kalasha kids. They can learn, and they can the people can teach them what's Kalasha culture and what is their religious activities. So most of us, we are going to the schools where we learn other religions more than the Kalashis. So we didn't know about our own culture. I sometimes I saying I'm saying this that we are the most confused generation in the history, maybe. So conversion is another issue in Kailash. There is no kind of forced conversion. We can't say it's a forced conversion. It's kind of like love jihad, and the people, they in love with each other, and they convert it and just to marry some outsider guy and like that. Modern construction is again the big issue in Kailash. Just a few weeks ago, Directorate of Archaeology and Museums, with the cooperation of District Administration, we just demolish a hotel in the valleys because they made a modern construction. It's like kind of ugly hotel, which is which hide each and everything in the valleys. So we just demolished that hotel few days ago. And sensitivity of tourists, it's like it's a big issue, because the Kailash is now discovering. Before, the people were just they're living in the valleys, no nobody know about that. But now through media, through social media, it's kind of global village, so everybody know about the Kailash and their unique culture and everything. So the people start to coming there. It's uncontrolled tourism. So the insensitivity of tourists, like sometimes they try to enter your home, sometimes they try to take a picture while you're working, sometimes they while you are sleeping in the open air. Of course, when I was in my valleys and I was 10, 9 grade, and we used to sleep in the in the mid of the day, we were used to sleep somewhere in the shadow of tree and like that. But nowadays, kind of we can't do that. If we do that in the other day, maybe in the social media and Twitter and like Instagram and Facebook, our picture will be viral like that. So insensitivity of tourists is a very big issue. And the fifth thing is underfinancing. Kailash culture is like it's a very expensive culture. Like as I said about the Death Festival, about the festivities in Kailash, the Kailasha people are before they, their living style are very simple, and they just cultivating and agriculture and all these kind of things were really work there. But nowadays the expenses are too high, so they underfinancing. They can't afford this culture. That's why they are converting and they're leaving this culture. And thank you so much. Now, I think I'm leaving this session for the question and answer. Like,
Thank you, Samarji, and thank you, Syed Gulji, for your very informative presentation. Now, I mean, out of curiosity, I mean, I could get it from your presentation that a lot of most of the culture, most of the Kalash people, they are, you know, into agriculture and all that. What is the level of education? My question is that what is the level of education, and how many pursue higher education? And if they do, like say for example yourself, I mean, I'm assuming that you pursued a, you know, higher education at a university, and then you know, you are working in a different field like archaeology, for example. So is it like is there a trend now towards going towards this kind of higher education, or are the people still living you know, in an agricultural, you know, like an older way? And even if they live in an agricultural you know, like in an older way, do they still go to schools? Thank you.
oh, thank you so much. I think it's a most important question you ask about the education. Yes, you know, it depends to the finance again, and it depends to your family, their effort, your education or not. I myself, through all my life, I studied on a scholarship because my parents they can't afford my education. Still now I'm doing my MPhil studies, and I'm also applied for the scholarship because it's not affordable for me to complete my higher studies without a scholarship. The people still they are, yeah, like they are doing is agriculture, but they want their kids go to school and they learn more things, and they learn the modern technology, and they learn the world, what's the world going on. And now the kids in my home, they are living in Chitral, or they are studying in the good schools. So the people now they are understanding the value of education, and they want their kids to study in different cities, and they want to get wants to get education. Now the Kalasha girls and boys are in different universities. They are doing like MPhil, PhD, and they are doing some tourism and in sciences, and like a lot of, in a lot of subjects that now they are in the education sector. Yes, it's education is also spreading in Kailash now.
Neeraj Joshi ji.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. May I ask, what religions are they converting to, and do you have any examples of how that happened?
Ah, mostly in Islam, because in our area, in our country, Islam is a more prominent, and they are living in majority. We are living in minority in Pakistan. So most of my sister, she's now Muslim, and she's living with us. Half of my family they are converted to Islam, and they are still we are living like side by side, and they are converted to Islam mostly. Yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
So is it that the conversion is just is not forced, right? It just happens automatically.
Yes, sir. It's just I said in the beginning, like it's a kind of love jihad. They are falling in love in someone and they converted to Islam because we are not like Ahle Kitab as the Muslims consider us. So to get marry a Muslim guy, you must convert it yourself to Islam first of all. That's why they are converted to Islam, and the other thing is our schooling is like the syllabus is also like more Islamic, and we know more about Islam, and we didn't know about Kailash. That's also impact in our life.
Yeah, because I was seeing in a presentation you had gods whose name was like Mahandev, and it somewhat relates to the gods we have in India. So we see a lot of similarity.
Yes, yes, there are a lot of similarities. Is like there are a lot of things that we also use in Sanskrit. They are using like Mahadev, Indra, and kind of these things. And if you if you see the rituals, especially they are like of the offerings, they are also very similar to Hinduism. So So there are a lot of it. Like Kailash word itself is like, the mountain Kailash and all this. They are very similar to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So if that region was in India in 1947, the chances of the Kailash being intact and being growing would have been higher.
No, we are still trying to growing in Pakistan. The government is also supporting the Kailash, but again, the love jihad is more prominent. That's why
Yeah.
we are not growing that much.
Your clothes are very
Yes.
unique. I've not seen that clothes like this. Is there anything special pattern in making those clothes, especially for the women?
Yes, it's very special. Like these kind of clothes are only made in Kailash. We can't buy from market because nobody can make that kind of special clothes from anywhere. Maybe in future, maybe someone try to make that because it's like a handmade and woolen and all this. So the Kalasha, the dress is it's identify that you are from Kailash. It's identification of Kalasha women. The dresses are.
And I've seen a lot of women also wear the bindi on the forehead, which is
Ah,
also similar to the Indian
I,
culture.
I don't know, but I love the bindi. It's also on the
Hmm.
Buddha's forehead. It's called the third eye, and it's a vision
Yeah.
of your life. Maybe that's why I love bindi, and I always want to wear bindi.
Vinod ji wanted to ask a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
namaste, Said Gulji. My
Namaste.
question to you, namaste. My question to you, Said Gulji, is uh, what are the top 3 areas that we could help, maybe with funding, that will help preserve the Kalasha culture, right? What is it that we can do from where we are in North America or wherever in 3 areas? Which are the top areas that you think are critical?
Ah, oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. That's so kind of you. But the preserve to Kailash is like it's a very huge responsibility, and we are working for it since many years. Because we can't preserve somebody's mind, what he's thinking, what he's going to do, and like that. So, for my opinion, I think personally, because I'm also educationist working in a village, and I also set up there a small tuition center for the kids. They can come and they can learn. And again, my mom is a community judge, and she tried to teach them and taught them the Kalasha culture and traditions. So I think the education must be priority. Especially there must be, we can help on the education if we educate them about their own culture and about their own traditions. They maybe know more about the culture, and in this way, if we work on from the grassroots, this way we can preserve the Kailash. Otherwise, it's not possible to stop someone. I try my level best. If even I can't stop my sister to go to from other to other culture, how can I stop someone else from the other side? So I think the education is most. It's a big bond we can if we want to preserve the Kailash.
What kind of support do you get from Indian government, or do you expect any support from the Indian government?
No, because it's I can't expect anything from Indian government. When also I don't want to get help from there, and I don't think that's the good thing for me.
Yeah, so it
I
should be
hope you
from a private person. It shouldn't be from the government. Yeah.
yeah, I hope you understand my point.
And you don't want to move also to India because you want
we
to
are
stay in
living,
your
we
valley.
are living, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And you
It's
like
like
your valley,
it's a
so
kind
you
of
don't want to even move from there. Yeah,
yes. I
because
love
it's your home. Yeah,
yes. I love my country. I
exactly.
love
Yeah.
my country.
So yeah, we don't like to
Yes.
move from our hometown or our home. This thing. Even now, when you have moved to Takshila, I
Yeah.
think you must be feeling different. Huh?
No, I love here, and I before I stayed here. Now I'm here for my studies, and I love to stay here. Texas is my favorite place. Is it's related to my subject also. I love to study religions like I also study Gita, Mahabharata, and Ramayana, three books of Hinduism. And then nowadays I'm trying to learn about Sikhism. And a few days ago I went to the Panja Sahib, and I meet with the Sardars, and I talk to them, and I try to learn about the Sikh religion. So I love to learn religions, and
That's
that's
good.
who
Yeah.
I am. And I love humanity. I'm not a religious person. I am a human being. So yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Vinodji has a question for you. Yeah.
So Syed Gulji, just as a follow-up,
Okay.
I expected that answer, education, and I totally agree, because as Hindus, we are also in the same boat where our own people don't know much about, are not aware, and many of us are working in that area, educating children, and it's a huge task. And like you said, in modern education, it doesn't include our culture. So given that, so is there, the schools you mentioned have a different syllabus, but is it possible that if you run a school, if you were to start can the Kalash run their own private schools where Kalash culture is taught? Is that possible with the collaboration with a not-for-profit based in North America? Is that even possible?
Sorry, it's I think internet issue. And can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, I'll repeat it. Syed Gulji, I expected that answer, that education is key, and we have the same issue within Hindus as well. Our people are not aware, and they fall for love jihad and all that. That happens with us also. So, and again, if we were to focus on education, can the Kalash people run their own schools? Is that allowed? And can they receive funding from outside, from say from North America?
Yeah, I think it's allowed. I didn't talk about it still, because the way I'm running the small tuition center is not a huge thing, because my sister, they are helping the students who are going to school. After school, they are coming to their her home, and they get their the little bit help from her. So I didn't know about the big setup, and maybe we can take permission from the government to make a big setup, and it's allowed or not, I don't know about it, and I will confirm it.
Yeah, I think your model of running small tuition centers is good, and we have that similar model too. So that's something also very effective, very low cost, but more effective.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that
Yeah.
was. I'm sure we can work through this later on, and would be
Yeah. Thank
interested
you.
to do more on this.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Amitji has a question for you.
Okay.
Hang on, before, I think Amiji is unable to talk. Prasad here, by the way, let me ask one as well. I'm the host here, so I can't raise my hand.
Okay. Sorry.
Amitji.
Oh, go ahead, Amit.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I think, yeah. Thank you. Syed Gulji, I have two questions. One was, what is the language that Kalash people speak? Is it different from Urdu or Pashto, or is it specific? Do you have a script for this language? And my third question was, could you tell something about your work in Takshila, your archaeological work? I mean, what are you looking at, and what do you hope to find? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love to answer this question. First of all, the language, yes, we are speaking Kalashi language. It's a call, like Kalash call for many things, like territory, language, and their culture and religion. It's used for many things, you know. For language, we also call it a Kalasha language. And for my work in Tesla is I posted here by myself, because I'm studying in Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, which is nearer to this area. Without this, I was not able to get admission in the university, because in the other part, I'm doing my job as well. So I'm a government servant, and I'm working with the Directorate of Archaeology and Museums. government of KPK. My work in Texila before I work here is in a Buddhist site, Bamala, called the Buddhist complex to explore, to conservation and excavation in the Buddhist Bamala site. And nowadays I'm here. My task is to report about the sites, which is the world, the World Heritage sites, which are located in Texila. So just to reporting that sites, because I'm also in the other part, I'm also studying and I'm going to university 4 days a week, and 3 days I'm working for my job.
So when you studied the different religions of the world, what is the similarity you found between the Kalash religion and the Indian, like the ancient Vedic religion?
There are a lot of similarities if you talk about the ancient things. Nowadays we forget a lot of things in Kalash as well, because it's an oral tradition. There is no written script, and we don't have the written things in with us. That's why we forget many things. If you just try to learn from the ancient Kalash, you find out many things which is related to Hindu culture, Hindu religion, like the rituals during and just a day before I was reading in the book, in the world religion book, there was they offering during their ritual, they offering something to the fire, just to give the angels their part. And this is also in Kailash. When we sacrifice, we put some bread to the in the fire, and some kind of blood to the fire, spit to the fire, and this kind of things. I saw a lot of similarities between this, like the ancient religions, but not in the Buddhism, not in the other. With the Hinduism and Zoroastrians, there are some similarities.
Yeah, Hinduism is mainly because it was an agricultural country, India, for thousands of years. For us, fire, earth, wind, all this is very
Yes.
important, and rain, of course. So
Yeah.
all our rituals, all our religions are based around this. Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
And that is why, we call it naturalist, or we call it nature worship. But basically, that was how we sustained ourselves for
Yes.
thousands of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But the different here is like the Hindus, they used to go to the temple and they do puja daily, and they have the physical physical Mahadev and physical kind of goddesses and like
Correct.
that. But in Kailash there is no that kind of physical thing, and you are going to pray daily. Maybe in the past, before 14th 15th century, when they were the dominant people in Chitral, maybe in those days, but after the centralization attack on them, they run away from the proper city, and they confine themselves in the caves. They forget many
Correct.
things. They forget many things, but the things they only remind was the practice they did every day. And the Kalasha women are not allowed to go to Mahadev. The Mahadev is a sacred place, and we are not allowed to go there. And only men are allowed to go there and to perform the rituals and the prayers. And this is the difference between, yeah.
Sayinji Prasad here, quick question on a follow-up. You said that your culture is a descendant of the Greeks, essentially from Alexander. But Alexander was, in Afghanistan, Pakistan, about 2,500 years ago. You said you go as old as 3,000 years. That's number one. So it has to be before Alexander. You cannot be descendant of Alexander. Number two, you said you also believe you're descendant of the Arya people. And Arya people, first of all, they lived in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bharat, everywhere in that area for a very long time. So it cannot be both. So you have to be part of the Vedic culture from before. So you worship Mahadev, you are a fire worshippers, you have a mode of worship, your dress and all that, it's all relates to the region you live in. It's mountainous Hindu Kush region. So probably developed because of that. So given all this history and background, why don't you just call yourselves Hindu? Your culture is Kalash, get it. But why don't you just declare yourself as Hindu? Very simple.
I'm very proud to say myself as a Kailash. I love this word Kailash for myself. As maybe you can see my name in the social media, I describe it as Said Gul Kalash, but in documents I only Said Gul. But I love this culture, and all the Kalashi maybe who understand what is Kalash, they love their culture and religion. Yeah, of course, Hinduism is again one of my favorite, Hinduism and Sikhism and all this. But there are many differences between Hinduism and Kailash, and they are not kind of same thing. There are similarities, yes, I know, but there are some differences as well. So I think identity is more important.
No, no, it is important. What I meant is, Hinduism again. You don't go by the Western definition of what a religion is.
Yeah,
Islam, Christianity is not the
yeah,
same as Hinduism, right? So Hinduism is a
yeah.
culture, a big culture, and even
Yes,
inside it, there is hundreds and thousands of different communities who follow
yes,
the
I
Hindu
know.
practices, right?
Yes, I
So,
know.
and
I
each,
know.
if you look at them, it's there is a large variation of
Yes,
what is practiced by groups of communities, but they all believe they are Hindus. But you again, you say your history is that you're following Arya, the Vedic culture, fire worship, Mahadev. You looks like your ancestors were actually going to Kailas as a mountain where
yes,
God Mahadev or Shiva lives, right? So
yes.
that's
But
why.
if if I get married to a Hindu, again I not change my name. I still
No,
call
no,
myself as a
No,
Kailash.
you don't have to change
But
because
I love
Hindu is,
Hindu.
there is no
that's
conversion
okay.
in Hindu. So,
That's okay. That's okay. That's the
I
question.
know, I know,
yeah, yeah.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but we
Hindu
are
is a very
similar,
flexible
to
name.
each other. But
Yeah.
it's very flexible. But in our region, since from the long, there was no Hinduism. That's why the people are very familiar to Kailash. But if you call them to Hindu, there's like suddenly it's called very like kind of something like if many of my friends yesterday when I put my pictures from Panja side, and they consider me that I converted to Sikhism, and many of them ask me, "Oh, will you have a bindi in your forehead? You are in Panja side. What is going on?" And blah blah. The people are just conscious about what I am doing. So
Exactly.
these kind of things are very not similar in our valleys and in Chitral, especially when I used to go to my Nanial, which is in Biriru Valley, they didn't know about other religions. And once my Nani told me why you're not getting married, and I told her, if I get married, I will marry to some Sikh or Hindu. I never married in this valleys. I just told her, and she was just hyper. How could you say this? And you are doing wrong, and blah blah blah. So the people are not familiar with this religion. Because I'm archaeologist, I'm living in the city, and I studied a lot of religion and culture. That's why I love all the religions in the world.
So just on the last question from me. After that, Neeraj Ji's I think raised his hand already. With the education piece, yes, it's great. Everyone needs to be educated. Younger kids, older people, everything is great. One thing which we have noticed across the world, by the way, especially with these ancient cultures, once the community, the students or children get educated, they depart from the community, go to cities, and they are all over the world
Yes,
these days. You never know. So how are you going to keep the 3,500 people you have together? Because they are all going to leave. Education, it could be a double-edged sword. It could work either way.
yes,
To get them
that's,
connected,
I think
keep them
that
connected is a challenge, actually.
it's very challenging. Yes, I never think about it. Thank you so much. But I think you're absolutely right, 100%, as I'm living in Texas nowadays because I'm getting education. And again, I'm working, when I was in Chitral, I've been in the city because of my job. I think your point is very accurate in this sense. And if we are educated, and of course, for the job and for other things, we must leave from the area. And it's very difficult for us to collect the people in one place. There are only 3,500 people. But again, I am like one of my aunt. She got married a Greek guy in Greece, and she's living there nowadays. And she made their son some, the Kalasha, like Mahadev and Wareen and Sajigor, they, the religious places there, and our husband supported her to do that. So many of our cousins, they are living in Greece and they are studying there, and they told me that we have now our own religious places here, and so we can perform our religious rituals here. So I think if you I'm also the great supporter of intermarriages to the other minority religion who are living here in Pakistan and outside Pakistan. I also, one of my cousins, she got married a Hindu guy. He's from South Punjab, and I am great supporter of this. One of my cousins, she got married a Christian boy. He's from Punjab side as again. So I think this is the way to maybe the people can rise and their population can rise one day. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough situation.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough.
Yeah. Niranji has a question.
Yeah, I would just
Yes.
thank you for that. I was just wondering, in your tradition, who are the spiritual gurus and what are the spiritual practices? I mean, what are the yogas you practice? I mean, who are the teachers?
Oh my God,
Who are the
that's
gurus?
again a very tough question.
Who are the,
We don't have religious gurus.
who are the gurus in your tradition? Who are they? What do they do?
No, we don't have religious gurus. We have some community judges who announce the festivals and who gather the people who talk about the religious activities and like that. But we don't have like that guru. In the past, there was some spiritual people that called Diyar shaman. The Kalasha people, they believe in shamanism, and they have some spiritual power to, to connect with the angels and to discuss the things with the angels. But nowadays there is no shaman in Kailash, because we are also eating chicken and eggs, and in Kailash the people consider chicken and eggs are impure thing. If you eat chicken and eggs, and there is no spiritual power in you. So the tradition is oral tradition. It's it's transferred from generation to generation. Our forefathers, they transfer to our fathers, and our fathers are transferred to us, and like that.
Okay, thank you.
Vinodji has a question.
Yeah. Said Gulji, do you visit North America and do you have a Canadian visa? Because we would definitely like to host you here. And do you have a not-for-profit organization that we could route funding if required through?
Oh, thank you so much. I don't have any organization right now because I'm working as a government servant. It's not, I'm not allowed to make an organization and like that. The way I'm supporting my kids is my own, and I'm trying to do my level best. Of course, I love to visit North America, and I love to meet all of you people there. And I never been there, North America, but I've been in Washington for my Net Geo Award and all this, and I visit there, and as I got my museum training in Washington Smithsonian Institution, so I think it's lovely to be there, to talk about my culture, to talk about my things with the other minorities living in North America. I love to do that. Yes.
Thank you, Said Gulji. We will follow up later on. We can follow up on this topic offline.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Looks like there's no more questions from anyone. We had a very good session with Sayed Gulji.
Thank you so much. So it's really nice to meet you all. I'm very happy that I talk about Kailash to you. And I hope I convince all of the audience about the culture and tradition. And I hope so. Thank you. Thank you so much.